What movie mistake is so glaringly obvious that you're surprised it made it into the final cut? Most of the time, movies appear unreal, but we usually have to turn a blind eye to elements on the screen that aren't all that bad. Even with the highest rated films of all time consist of numerous errors, and today our Redditors share the unmissable errors they discovered while watching the movies with us. We watch Die Hard every Christmas. This year, we let our eldest watch it with us, and he spotted something that we've never noticed. Just after Bruce Willis hangs the guy from the chain, the same guy is seen in the next shot at the top of the stairs behind Willis. That kid is sharp for sure. In Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts is eating breakfast at a fancy hotel. She's eating a croissant. Cut to Richard Gere. Cut back to Julia. She's eating a pancake. She must have gotten hungry. In the movie Charlie's Angels, Drew Barrymore's character shouts, "Lucy!" to Lucy Liu instead of her character name. Consider the situation in real life. Complete chaos. In pretty much any zombie movie, when people run to the elevator to get away from the zombies, the door always seems to close on the zombies trying to get in. They never pop back open like they would if somebody actually stuck their hand or any other limb or object in the way of the doors. I haven't watched it in a while, but in the newer Dawn of the Dead, I'm pretty sure that happens. Now that you mention it, that is so true. In The Walking Dead's first episode, where Rick is riding the horse and turns the corner and finds a street full of walkers, you can see a walker drinking from a water bottle. Whoa, now that's out of place. The Fast and the Furious. The line, "Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should." Why the hell would you double clutch during a drag race? It just proved the writers had no clue about cars, much less racing them. After all, it appears they don't know much about cars. Transformers Rise of the Fallen has a scene that breaks my brain so much that I've had to check to make sure it was real about a dozen times. They go to the National Mall in Washington, D.C. at night. They find the jet that turns out to be an old Transformer. He breaks through a wall, and they are seen at an airplane graveyard in Tucson, Arizona during the day. I don't care that there aren't a bunch of planes outside in Washington, D.C., movie magic and all that, but we literally go from night to midday and from Washington, D.C. to the freaking middle of the desert. That's a quick switch. He might have gotten teleported. In Cannonball Run, they spend a good 10 minutes explaining that the racers are all starting at different times. The winner will be the one who completes the race in the shortest time, which is not necessarily the first team to finish. At the end, they ignore this, and they give the trophy to the first team to finish. Now that's not fair! In The Mummy 2, when Rick is carrying his son through the jungle, they reach the pyramid before the sunrise hits the diamond at the top. The sunlight is hitting the ground first somehow, and instead of starting at the top like a normal sunrise. Seems suspicious. In the first Harry Potter movie, when Harry and Ron are in the room with the mirror and Harry tosses the invisibility cloak off to one side, you can see the green side of the fabric they usually get rid of in editing. Green screen alert! You gotta love the Mission Impossible Fallout scene when Henry Cavill's character spontaneously grows a beard and a shirt pocket by cocking his arms. Henry Cavill is capable of doing anything! RoboCop 1987. The scene where RoboCop punches the losing mayor out of the building window. The news replay shows a guy bouncing off a pad or something similar. After all, he didn't die! That's fantastic news! In Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief, the movie takes place in summer and Persephone is in the underworld. That's what the movie calls hell, apparently, with Hades. When the very reason Persephone exists as a character in Greek mythology is to explain the summer and winter solstice, meaning that when she's in Olympus with her mother, it starts on the summer solstice and it's warm half the year, and when she's in the underworld with her husband Hades, it's winter. Also, the movie acknowledges the part about her being in Olympus half the year and the underworld the other half, but still ignore it completely since she's fucking there telling us about it anyway. Also, Hades is apparently abusive towards her now for some reason, but I'm not going to start listing all the bullshit these two movies did or I'll be going on it all night. In Highlander 2, The Quickening, which is a glaringly obvious movie mistake in its entirety, it is established that there are a series of giant energy shield towers around the Earth, including two near opposite sides of the US. The hero begins a sword duel at one of the towers before the camera shifts elsewhere. When we return to the duel, they fought their way to the bottom of the tower on the opposite side of the country. Another quick switch! In Titanic, Jack says he fell through the ice of Lake Wissota while ice fishing. Lake Wissota is man-made and wasn't filled until 1917. The Titanic sank in 1912. So did Jack. After all, Jack could predict the future. Jurassic Park. T-Rex comes through the fence at ground level, then proceeds to push the car off a cliff. Where the heck did the cliff come from? He was just standing there. Magic. Oh, I get to bust out my favorite. In Pulp Fiction, Bruce Willis' bloodstain magically changes shape and size multiple times while he goes to get the sword and kills Zed. It's like so noticeable and very distracting, and it's like wardrobe, makeup, and continuity all drop the ball on it. Seems impossible. It sure is. Disney's Hercules. In the climax of the movie, Styx is close enough to the ground Hercules is standing on that he can reach into it. Yet when he saves Meg, he swan dives like 100 feet into it. I'm shocked that such a major studio, at the height of its power, didn't manage to catch it. I'm pretty sure it's the most glaring error in any Disney movie. I am with you on this one, buddy. The fake blood used in Tombstone was shockingly bad. It never came off, even when Wyatt walked outside in torrential rain and held his hands out. Then he wiped them on his shirt. Blood was still plastered on his hands and his arms. The blood refused to leave him. The end of Godzilla in 2014 completely falls apart, mostly due to bad editing. The soldiers are making a run for the boat with the nuke, and Mama Muto is right on top of them. Then it cuts to Godzilla, who fights Daddy Muto for a while. He eventually smashes into a building, killing him, but also brings the building down on Godzilla, crushing him to the floor. Ford escapes from the Muto nest and has time for a little moment with the fallen Godzilla. Then we cut back to Mama Muto, who has completely paused her attack on the soldiers to allow Ford time to get into position. She then decides to quickly finish them off, but this buys time for Ford to escape on the boat. During this fairly brief battle, Godzilla silently picks himself up from under the building, walks over to the dock, tiptoes up behind Mama Muto, and is able to take her down with a quick neck chomp atomic breath combo. Ford tries to escape on the boat with the nuke, which has 5 minutes left on the clock, and he needs to be 20 miles away from the city, so he needs to be traveling at 240 miles per hour. And Godzilla, having dealt with the Mutos, decides rather than swimming away, to go back into the city for a nice lie down under that building that crushed him earlier. Seems like Godzilla was supposed to deal with Mama Muto first, but it got all butchered in editing, and no one bothered to check and it still made sense. Have you noticed any errors in movies you've seen? If so, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.